Bear Bachmeier, Jack Kelly, and the BYU Cougars take on Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey, and the Texas Tech Red Raiders in an incredible Big 12 championship game, a rematch of the game we had earlier on in the season, just a few weeks ago. Now, of course, we know the stakes for this one. BYU is into the college football playoff with the win. Very likely Texas Tech for sure is in the college football playoff, but with the win, they will get a first round bye. That much is known. Based off the way the results have gone, Texas Tech, they're going to get a first round bye if they win this game. The stakes are pivotal. It's like their first round kind of game of the college football playoff. They're automatically through the first round if they can win this game. And BYU, well, they're fighting for a chance to represent the Big 12 as the conference champion in this game. Now, it would be fascinating to look at where the seeding would go. Would BYU be likely ahead of Texas Tech in the rankings? Probably not. They would probably be at that 9 or 10 spot and not quite getting a home game. But Texas Tech in this game, remember, they did blow out BYU earlier on in this season. So as we start looking at this matchup, McGuire, Kalani Sitaki, this is going to be a much tougher game, I think, for Texas Tech to win this one. First of all, you have to look at that game was at home. It was at home, people, when they squared off the first time around. This one it's not a neutral site there in Arlington, Texas, but it is a little bit more favorable than having it there in Lubbock. Now, the entire game, I believe, hinges on the first half. If BYU is trailing by a big margin into the second half like they were in the original matchup, frankly, they're just not going to have much of a shot. 13-0 at the half. BYU doesn't score their first points until the fourth quarter. I think it's an explosive play earlier on in this game. BYU, you've got Chase Roberts there on the outside. You really tried to get LJ Martin in the run game going for Bachmeier in the first matchup, but it just couldn't happen. There wasn't any success on the ground. Everyone wants to talk about Romello Heights and David Bailey and what they can do as two of the best pass rushers in the conference, if not the entire country. And these guys are also very good run defenders. They're excellent defending the run. And I really believe that BYU, to have success in this game, it's attacking early down the field, going after those defensive backs, and then it's the long, hard, slushy sort of movements into the rest of this game. I think it's going to take something like 35 to 40 carries. You look at the way BYU just played UCF, 40 carries, 118 yards. They didn't have crazy huge numbers on the ground in the sense of yards per carry, but LJ Martin, 95 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, an efficient day from Bachmeier, 21 of 25, controlling the football, time of possession being an important factor. That's a style of how you can have a shot. Frankly, it is about being in a one-score game in the fourth quarter with Texas Tech. There aren't many teams that have had the capability to be in a one-score game, and their only loss of the season, Texas Tech did not having their starting quarterback against Arizona State. But you look at the entire body of work, the rest of the schedule, they have not been in a single close game in the fourth quarter except for their one loss. When Behren Morton is the quarterback, everything's a blowout. It's not even remotely close. You go through the whole schedule, and there aren't even games that are less than 20-point margins in those other 11 games. In each of Texas Tech's 11 wins, their margin of victory was 22 points or more. Frankly, BYU gave it the best crack. They lost by 22, but they beat Utah by 24, beat Houston by 24 points. Both of those games coming on the road. Kansas State on the road beat them by 23. Incredibly impressive. Why? Well, they've got NFL talent on this roster. There's no doubt about that. Jacob Rodriguez in the middle is going to win the Butkus. It's quite possible that he might win the Bednarik Award, best defensive player in all of college football. I think that there's a great shot he can. 11 takeaways. People got to remember here. 11 takeaways in 12 games is madness. 7 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, and how many fourth quarters was their limited action from Jacob Rodriguez. This is the type of player that essentially went from somewhat of an unknown commodity outside of fans of him. He had 14 tackles originally in that first matchup, but when he transferred from Virginia, he had a good season last year, right? He had 5 sacks, 127 total tackles. He had the PDs. This year, it's been the takeaways. That's been the ultimate difference. The ball has just found its way into that right fist of his. It's found its way into his hands for interceptions. This guy has played himself probably into being a day 2 pick in the upcoming 2026 NFL draft. He's been unbelievable, and I immediately look to him in this game. I don't know why you would look anywhere else besides a guy like him, because what does he do? He limits the legs of Bear Bachmeier. Cole Wisniewski, he limits the ability of Bachmeier to gather space. This is a guy that's run for 11 touchdowns this season. If Chase Roberts wants to go over the middle of the field and catch the football, Parker Kingston, if it's Ryan, LJ Martin out of the backfield, you have to deal with Rodriguez. He's probably my favorite player to watch in the entire conference. There's a lot of great linebacker play throughout college football. The likes of Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Anthony Hill Jr., C.J. Allen. There's a number of guys. And the fact that Jacob Rodriguez from the Big 12 has inserted himself into the conversation and probably wins out the awards over guys like that you're talking about day 1 picks, first rounders, and he's outplayed all of them throughout the season. Now, the question is, does it translate, and does he show up in the CFP? Does he show up in games like this one against BYU in the Big 12 title game? We talked about the stakes, a chance to get a first-round bye. It's a matter that I believe comes down to takeaways. They had him against BYU in the first matchup, the interception from Bear Bachmeier, the 2 fumbles that they lost, the fumble from Bachmeier, the fumble from Kingston. They took the football away 3 times in that game, and that was a true difference. BYU could not move the football down the field. I think taking a look at the drive chart and what it had entail, I mean, we're talking about 23 yards on the second possession, 16 on the first possession. A missed field goal to start the second quarter, 42 yards, a 19-yard possession, going backwards 4 yards to end the half, 15 yards in the third quarter, 4 yards in the third quarter, 3 and outs, and then 22, and then they had their garbage time touchdown to make the game 26-7, and that was just about it. I mean, that is pure domination by Texas Tech on the defensive side of the football. It was dominated in the trenches. Total yards 368 to 255. The rushing totals 149 to 67, fully doubling them up. It was a gut punch for sure for BYU. I look at their game against Arizona. I remember staying up late watching that one and seeing the heart, the grit from this BYU team and seeing them fight for 4 quarters against Texas Tech. It let me know that this team really could be back. That just in about a month, they could be right back there in December to play this team on the first Saturday of December for the chance to go to the college football playoff, just being 4 quarters away from making that happen. And a lot of that for me had to do with the ability for them to get after the quarterback. It's their defense, and it's the running ability of LJ Martin, one of the best running backs in all of college football. It's paramount for him to have a very good day, to break a tackle, to get away from Jacob Rodriguez, to make him miss, to be able to make a play like that is the difference between scoring a touchdown or kicking a field goal in the red zone. If BYU can just get the football down, I think they crossed the 50-yard line. The missed field goal, the touchdown, I can't remember any other possessions that they had where they were even able to cross midfield. Might have been 3 times that they crossed the 50. But for the most part, Texas Tech, a bit of the slower start in that first matchup, feeling them out, and then bam, they were really able to just explode there in that, I don't know, the second. There's a 20-minute first period, then there's a 20 from 20 to 40, then 40 to 60. That middle 20 of the game where they just fully leaned, and they took it from being a tight first quarter there, and then bam, they're up 26-0. and there's no shot for BYU to have a shot to win this one. So I really do believe Sitaki. It's an intensity from the get-go. It's stopping the run first and foremost. If you can't stop the run, if you're not able to limit Dickey and Williams, that's it. We got to be honest here. These guys that run the football for over 5.5 yards a carry. Cameron Dickey, 13 touchdowns, over quadruple digits on the season running the football. There's been few better backs in all of college football, and then you're pairing that with this explosive offense, been one of the best in college football, no doubt. Virgil, Eakin, Carter Jr., Williams, Douglas. The receiving yards have piled up on the year. Behren Morton, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2,400 yards. He's a guy that's not going to get out there and scramble and make all kinds of plays with his legs. Traditional pocket quarterback and slinging the football down the field. The Red Raider air raids type of offense at the Big 12. The legends of 50 years ago would be very proud of watching this team play. They're as explosive as anybody, but beyond that, why I believe they're dangerous enough to sweep this BYU team and win this game and then get to the quarterfinals, maybe even the semifinals of the college football playoff. It's because of that defense. Height and Bailey is arguably the best duo of edge players in all of college football. And behind that, with that level of talents, and then in that secondary, you've got monsters that attack. They come downhill and try and kill you. Pollock's been one of those guys throughout the entire season. Boyd's been one of them. I have a feeling here that a loss like Skylar Gill-Howard prevents them potentially from beating a team of the class of maybe Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, because Skylar Gill-Howard and his ability right there in the middle. We'll see if he's maybe potentially able to come back. I don't fully know the full status of his health, and we'll obviously have a better shot of maybe getting him to see him playing the CFP if they do get a first-round bye with a win in this game. BYU, I'm talking about this Texas Tech team as if it's all said and done. It's 0-0. We got an even scoreboard to start the game. It's a fresh new start. And how do you come out? What is the game plan? How do you attack this Texas Tech team? I think it is on the perimeter. It's getting the ball out to Martin in space, to Roberts, and letting these guys run with the football in their hands and catch and run. It's that simple to me. I don't want to put so much on the shoulders of a true freshman in Bachmeier. Not that it's going to be too big of a moment for him, but this defense from Texas Tech and this pass rush is just too good to let Bachmeier sit back in the pocket and try and deliver the ball down the field with these defenders just lurking, just roaming, looking to take his head off once again and just get after the quarterback in the way that they were able to do earlier on in the season. And Bear Bachmeier, he was sacked 4 times, 7 tackles for loss. I want to say it was something like that. It was a game that Texas Tech, besides the takeaways, it was really good defensive back play. And so for BYU, I really got to see them. I really have to see BYU. And look, they had a great day. Jack Kelly had 2 sacks in that game, and they were able to get after Behren Morton throughout the day, but it almost didn't matter. What we have to see from BYU is take their one-on-ones to Roberts. You got to take your one-on-one opportunities, because it's going to be hard yards moving the football down the field. It's just a matter of it. To be able to move the football consistently on Texas Tech and have long possessions, I don't think that that's the path to victory in this game for them. I think that it is truly trying to create explosives and Kingston down the field, right? Getting the football to him in space and letting him run with the ball. Chase Roberts, using that size, 6'3", 208, 212 pounds on the field. Him using that size. Carson Ryan, allowing your weapons to catch the football in one-on-one spots, and then the ground game really trying to keep the football away from Texas Tech. If this becomes a game where Bachmeier has to throw the football more than 30 times, I do not like BYU's chances. And 30 times even isn't that many, but because of the pass rushing capabilities that Tech possesses and that defense that truly has been a bona fide top 5 unit in all of college football, there's guys like RG3 that talk about them being the sole best team in all of college football. That's pretty darn high praise from a guy that played in that conference and certainly doesn't have any reason to talk up Texas Tech. But BYU defensively, who's going to be that guy? Is it Tanner Wall? He's been the type of player throughout the entire season for BYU that's had a knack for taking the football away, for interceptions in key moments. He's going to have to come up with a play at some point. Evan Johnson. Does Evan Johnson make a play at some point? One of these guys are going to have to step up. I've got a lot of faith in Morton. He's shown an ability throughout the season to have a fearless attack. You know, if it's Douglas one-on-one getting him the football, it's going to happen at some point. That's 6'4" length and attacking the boundary. And with that size, and then Virgil, there's a weapon base here from Texas Tech that, frankly, I think that they outmatch BYU. They spent the money to get these players. It's not just all about that. It's also about recruiting them in the right way. It's not always about how much you're spending here. And look, a lot of other teams are spending $25, $30 million plus on their rosters. Texas Tech did it in the right way, bringing these transfer guys in, and they perform to a sense where they can now compete, and we'll see how they can compete against Power 4 teams, other Power 4 programs from the Big Ten or the SEC in the college football playoff. But I just got to say, a great season from these two teams for a conference that was talked about very negatively at the beginning of the season, that the winner would be like 9-3. There's no elite teams. BYU and Texas Tech have fully separated themselves and made the Big 12 very proud. And now you've got a chance to get those two teams stamped into the college football playoff. I think that Texas Tech wins this game by a score of 30-21. It's difficult to pick two-score wins for a team in any sense when you've seen them the first time and they know it's coming. But in this one, I think that Texas Tech gets to the quarterback even a little bit better in this game, that the offense will have nothing to lose. You're pretty confident you're in the CFP. There's nothing to lose here in this game for Tech. It's almost even lower. It's not lower stakes, but it's almost even a bit looser of a style than what you could have played with at home in your own home building in Lubbock earlier on in the season. And this one, you know what you've got in the back pocket, which is going to be a CFP berth. The question is, would they drop out of that top 5-6 spot? And that's the coveted positioning. Obviously, a bye where you don't have to play. It's a free win, free path into the second round, and you've got 3 weeks off to get healthy. Or it's that 5-6 spot. At 6, you're going to play a group of 5 champ. At 5, you play that ACC champ, likely Virginia or Duke. Or if it's Duke, maybe the group of 5 gets in and there's no ACC team represented. That's exactly where you want to be. With a loss, does Texas Tech fall out of that top 6? Don't quite know. It is a game that I've got a lot of confidence that they can replicate what they did in the first matchup, run the football very well. They don't have to run it for 5 yards a carry. Remember, 43 carries, $150 on the ground. That was just good enough with the takeaways that they had. I think that it can be closer for sure than that first game. I don't think, seeing 3 takeaways again. But for BYU to be anything but +2 in the turnover margin in this one, I don't see a path to victory where I just look at this Texas Tech roster player for player and them just having a bit more speed, physicality, and talent throughout the team. There's a mentality Sitaki's embodied for BYU that's incredibly respectable and that I love. Good enough to be in the CFP probably, but in this game, it's a little bit too much for them, and Texas Tech gets the win 30 21. Let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this game. Am I selling BYU short a little bit, or do you agree that Texas Tech is able to pull this one off? I appreciate you guys so much for watching this Blitz with Blinder video. Remember, I'm Josh Blinder, making NFL college videos weekly, getting you set and ready. It's the Big 12 championship game. I predicted the SEC title game, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana. It's so fun to be at this time of year, talk about these games that are incredible. It's kind of wild that we've got three rematches, right? BYU, Texas Tech, Bama, Georgia already played, with Bama beating Georgia, and then Virginia beating Duke earlier on in the season. We get these rematches. I guarantee you one of those three results will be different from the original one, but I don't see it here in this specific game. Now, let me know down below whether you think I'm wrong, and please subscribe for more Blitz of Blinder content in the future. We're trying to grow this brand out. I would love to have you join this community of passionate, excited college football fans that just love to live and breathe this sport, and it's one of your favorite things to do in the world. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time as we start to get looking ahead towards more NFL, some of these big matchups, and then, of course, the college football playoff. Thank you for watching.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blinder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blinder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.